So, good morning to everyone, and good afternoon and evening to some. So, we'll start, and we have two teachings today to listen to, very short, 3 minutes teaching. And I'm wishing and hoping that they would be like coming back home teachings for all of us. So, the first one that I'm going to share is by Jetsunma Tenzing Palmo, and she talks about that on the basics of why to even meditate, what is the need. And 2 3 minutes, she describes the process, why the need to do that, and the division between the surface mind and the mind of awareness. So I'm just sharing this, and we'll listen to it, and it's a meditative teaching, so please let us stay with the breath and listen to these words. It's okay to keep our eyes open because it's a video, and if you want to just look at it, just a second.
Mostly, people, all of us, are living at the very surface of our mind, right? We are living on the waves of the ocean, up and down, up and down, up and down, very surface, caught always in our chatter, 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 endless, like having a television on that you can never turn off in your head. Endlessly going on, all the commercials and all the endless soap operas and all the, all nonsense that's on anybody's television. It's all in our head. Blah, 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 blah. The sad bits and the happy bits and all the memories and all the hopes and fears. Blah, 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 blah. Can't turn it off. But there's another level. Our mindfulness. The ability to observe that without being drawn into it, right? So in the shamatha practice and in the vipassana practices, we're honing that skill to be able to observe and witness the mind without being drawn into the mind, just seeing thoughts and emotions as thoughts and emotions, not me, not mine, just. So that's already a huge step forward, right? We had the chattery TV mind is just the gross mind, and there's the ability to observe that, which is a more subtle level of mind, mindfulness, right? Nowadays, mindfulness is the big thing, and it's good. I mean, people say ordinary people shouldn't be taught mindfulness because they don't know it's Buddhist. Who cares? If we are able to help people to disassociate skillfully from their thoughts and their emotions, and just to recognize thoughts and emotions as just thoughts and emotions, so that we are more in control of our mind instead of being controlled by our mind, then that's a good thing. Even just that. I mean, the ego, which is the conceptual thinking mind, is a terrible master, but it's a good servant. We're not trying to stop thinking. Thinking is a brilliant thing. We're not trying to end up blank. But we should be in control of the mind rather than controlled by it. Then, if we are in control of our mind, then it's a wonderful tool. But as long as the mind itself with the ego is in control, then we are enslaved, and by a very pitiless master. Anyway.
So we'll just follow the instruction and let us take 5 minutes to ourselves before the next teaching shows up. So just 5 minutes, we'll look at our minds and try to keep the mind tamed. And with the breath, bringing it back home in the body with the breath. And whenever it goes back into thinking, just labeling it as got lost or thinking, and then coming it back, bringing it back to the breath. So we are going to just do this for 5 minutes. And why we do it here for 5 minutes? Because we know that in our silent times at home, we can extend this. And here online, we just try it out, as a sample. So just 5 minutes, and I'll ring you up after 5 minutes, bringing the mind to the breath. Just sticking to the breath, and right now, in this 5 minutes, discarding everything from the mind as chatter, 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 and bringing it back to the breath. So 3 more minutes or of bringing the mind again and again to the breath. So the good thing is that this can be done anywhere. If we are waiting in a queue, yes, waiting for someone, standing anywhere, we don't need any prop for it because breath is all the time with us. And any empty pockets of time throughout the day, we can make use of them in trying to bring the mind back home and taming the mind so that it listens to our instructions. So, if I want right now to keep the mind with the breath, not to focus into the content of thoughts, I must be able to do that slowly as we practice. Yeah, anything from anyone?
Am I audible?
Yes, Sampa?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I just want to ask that can this practice of watching the breath take you to a place where you can always watch the breath? It's not like it's not like a breather that you take, but it's like it becomes your living reality. You always watch the breath. You are always in the breath.
Yeah, I think it's just like learning any instrument. So if I go and first day ask the teacher, with my guitar, that would I be always able to play as effortlessly as you play, the teacher? What would the teacher say? He would say that, well, I practice almost every hour throughout the day. So, and the more restless we become with this, the more difficult it is because there is nowhere to reach. We have to first understand that there is no nothing waiting for me out there. Like this is our transactional mind. This is our usual sansaric mind, worldly mind, because the worldly mind uses everything as a means to an end. Okay, what if I get married? I'll get settled. What if I get good job? I'll get good money. Okay, what if I get good money? I get something which can make me happy. So everything the worldly mind wants to make an abuse of as a means to an end. Why should I study? So that I can land up in a college which gives me respect and fame. But here the we are actually trying to shift the worldly mind. I mean, what's the point when we are embarking upon bringing the mind back home? And I'm asking that, what will I get if I bring the mind home? Although we will get many, many things, that's not to say, we get peace of mind when the mind is home in the body, rested in the body, because that's the true place of mind. We are restless because the mind is most of the times in thoughts. And when the mind is home in the body, breath is the link to bring it back in the body, then I am peace. I have peace. I may have disturbance, surface disturbance, but I will be detached from that surface disturbance. Now, for a worldly mind, if it embarks upon the path of meditation, watching the breath, if one wants to promote it, why to come to this path, then of course one can say that, okay, you will get peace, you will get clarity of mind. Do you want all this? Then practice. Or if you think that you are happy with the monkey mind, always lost and drowned in the thoughts, then maybe not the right time. So I think it's very important for us to look at this worldly sansaric mind, which always wants to use everything as a means to an end. Everything. Now a child, when it's playing with mud, it doesn't ask what will playing will mud with mud get me. It just plays for the fun of it. So slowly, as we begin this practice, we actually begin to partake the joy in the practice. That much is enough. Because you will see that when you bring the monkey mind back home and you keep again and again bringing it back to breath and not focusing on the restless chatter of the mind, you will have clarity and peace in the throughout, the 24 hours of the day whenever you practice. Of course, we 2 days we practice and the third day we don't, then we can't expect it. But at least a glimpse is given to us that this is possible. And there is a detachment from the surface mind which is possible. So still the surface movements will go on, troubles will come, turmoils will come, not to say that they will disappear, but the witness aspect will go stronger when we tame the monkey mind through watching breath or bringing the mind to a divine name and stabilizing and anchoring ourselves there. So I would request you to maybe take these as pointers and maybe in silent times reflect over this, that what is the thing going on with this mind, always wanting to use things as a means to an end to get somewhere. But this is not about getting somewhere, this is just about uh, actually getting to a clarity of mind, a tool. Like mind is a tool which I have, but I don't know how to use it. Usually most of the time it is using me. So just very simply that I want now to be master and have a little control over my mind. When I don't want to think, then I don't want to think. That control I must have. Not that the thoughts are, like swarming and overwhelming me. So if for a person, as you asked, for those of us who may ask, okay, what will I get? Would I be able to do this forever? Of course, if only we wish for it. And not only wishful thinking, we practice. Why would I practice? Because I see the benefit that it is giving me. It's giving me a bit control over my monkey mind. That's why I would practice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share the next teaching. Again, it's a very short one. It's a meditative teaching by Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo, a very famous talk by her on taming the monkey mind. So we are going to just go through some bit of it and um, just a second. Where is it? Yeah. Where she's talking about this aspect, what Samba was asking, why breath and why to, what is the purpose? Just a few pointers on that.
Cultivating a quality of mind which is called awareness. It also can be called mindfulness, attention, consciousness. It's that ability of the mind. The first step is the ability of the mind to observe without comment. This is a very, very important quality in Buddhism. The ability to be aware, to know, without having to evaluate or judge, just knowing. And because this is such an important quality for us to learn how to cultivate, how to develop, this is the way to tame the monkey and then to train it. In Buddhism, we usually start in all Buddhist schools with the breath. Now, many of you here, I'm sure, know the meditation on the breath as it is taught in various Buddhist schools. But the point, the reason why the breath is useful, first of all, is because we are always breathing. And normally, when we are breathing, we are not aware that we are breathing. It's one of those automatic functions of the body which we don't give any thought to, we just breathe. But we can know the breath if we want to. So if I ask you all to stop breathing, we can all hold our breath, right? We can't stop the heart beating. We can't stop the liver functions or the stomach from digesting food, but we can stop our breath for a limited amount of time if asked to do so. So there is a connection between our consciousness and the breathing. At the same time, we cannot breathe in the past or in the future. We only breathe now. So if our awareness knows the breath as it goes in and it goes out, then at that moment we are present. Now it's very hard for our egoic mind, the mind ruled by this small self, to stay present. If we get to understand our mind, we recognize how much our mind is caught up in the past, in memories, comparisons, and just thinking back to what's happened before, 50 years before, 20 years before, yesterday, 5 minutes ago, or caught up in the future with our plans, our fantasies, our dreams, our ideas of what will happen next, our fears of what will happen next. But the one place that the mind has a really hard time to stay is now. To stay in the present is very hard for the mind. We don't recognize how difficult it is to actually be present with what is happening right here, right now, without commenting, without discussing it in our heads. So, therefore, this very simple meditation on the breath is a very skillful way to bring the mind into the present and at the same time to develop this important quality of awareness. Awareness means knowing. Normally, we don't know what's going on because we are too busy talking to ourselves. We are chattering away to ourselves the whole time, and we miss what is actually happening. For example, we are all sitting here, but how many of us are aware that we are sitting, experiencing the feel of sitting? Unless we are uncomfortable. Normally, once we are sitting, then our mind's gone off in all directions. But it's not where we are. So it's very important to develop the ability to be present, to be centered. So we learn how to observe, how to witness. And first, we observe the breath.
So I think very clear and crisp instruction. And before we close with a 5 minute looking at the breath again, anyone wants to bring up anything? Okay, so let's do it again, and just again taking 5 minutes to ourselves and bringing the mind fully back home in the body with the breath. We can exercise our will, and when thoughts come back, we can say, not right now, and bring our mind back to the breath. The last 2 minutes, being fully with the body, with the breathing. So, in Buddhist tradition, this is called shamatha practice, bringing the mind to the breath and pinpointing, concentrating in gathering the threads of consciousness. And we can't escape this stage. This has to go on for a long time, shamatha practice. And the basic idea is not breath, but the looking at the breath. So, slowly, as we gain stability in this practice of looking at the breath, then we slowly become aware of being aware. So, now we drop breath as the object of attention and we are just aware and being aware of being aware. But that is so subtle that it comes as a glimpse, and the mind tries to grasp at it, and it is immediately it's gone. So that is a most, I would say, that's a happening on the way. But first we can't rush these steps, and the first is to develop this dual mindfulness, like it's still two: observer and the observed, the looking and the looking at the breath. We can't escape this basic necessity, basic step. So let's be patient and take our own time, like there is no rush to anything, and begin to also enjoy the practice, because when we enjoy the practice, then we are self motivated. Nobody has to push me into it. Whenever I have time, whenever I have empty pockets throughout the day, we have many empty pockets, we are waiting in the queue, we are, I don't know, cooking, just becoming aware of the breath. It doesn't take much. And detaching the mind from the surface forest of thought where we are always drowned. Yeah. We forget, and we may do the practice for 1 day, 2 day, and then we forget to come back to it. So the idea is to just keep at it in all the little pockets of time, and then it can stretch. But first I have to make use of the pockets of time that I get. Yeah. So any last comments, anyone? Okay, so wishing everyone a very happy practice, and maybe remember throughout the day to come back to the breath and bring the mind home. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining in. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.